everyone, and welcome to your second royal reading today, a Friday, here at MadWorldTarot. A bit late today, so short readings and rather perverse little readings, and hence the Deviant Moon Tarot on the tarot table. We're looking really at the energy around relishing other people's misfortunes, taking advantage of them. Already had a rather unpleasant reading looking at what Prince William had to say about the worst year of his life, looking at it from Harry's perspective. Was there any sympathy there? Not really, according to the cards. Now, I'm going to look at an odd little story that Angela Levin, Auntie Angela, had up on X. And I'm quoting, this is to give it context. The context is Richard Eden's article in the Daily Mail about the establishment plot to undermine William and Catherine. I read on that yesterday. By establishment, I think we can all infer that Richard Eden actually meant Parkle plot. That's my opinion anyway, my take on the whole thing. So that's the context of what Auntie Angela had to say, and I'm quoting now. I believe Harry wants to take over so Meghan can be his queen. I personally am spelling Queen Kween here. Carrying on with the quote, they are such a skiving pair. I'm sure you remember when they were both at the palace, Harry told the late Queen that Catherine had no experience and Meghan was self-made and should take over from her. Disgusting. End quote. My word. Really? Has Auntie Angela lost her marbles completely? Or did this really happen? Deviant Moon Tarot, we're going to ask that question. We're going to ask who might have put the idea in Has-Been's tiny brain that Meghan was so much better than Catherine. Catherine, of course, was coming off the back of 3 very difficult pregnancies at that stage, 2018. And going through it when along came Miss Markle and sat down beside her and tried to oust her, according to Auntie Angela. So we're going to ask the question, who put the thought in Has-Been's brain that Meghan was so much better she could just displace Catherine? And did the Has-Been really put this to the Queen? And obviously the follow-up would have been what Auntie Angela didn't say, was that if Meghan was going to be Queen, then Has-Been was going to be King. We want to know how Catherine might have felt on hearing this news, what the Queen had to think and say, and Meghan's response when there has been trotted back to her, allegedly, I think we need quite a few of those, and said, no, not going to happen, not going to fly, darling. What did she do? Inquiring minds would like to know. Tarot, fun and entertainment, or my opinion, or speculation, wild speculation. We read energy around these kinds of stories to know if Auntie Angela has completely lost her marbles or not. And disclaimer in the box below. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, justice in reverse. Unfairness, and in quite an outrageous way. The proposal, it's not a proposition, it was a proposal. Really outrageous, really unfair, really against the order of things and the balance, sort of disruptor energy. And we know who likes to be disruptors, don't we? That's very much disruptor energy, justice in reverse. Really going against the law. With the Justice card in reverse, going against what's right and proper and fair and true and honest. All of those things. Heart of the reading. That, of course, is our underlying energy. Ooh, 7 of Swords. It's the sneaky card. It is the Megxit card for me. Interestingly, it showed up in the previous reading as well. It's showing up just about every reading at the moment. And it's showing up in reverse because it's undoing Megxit. Megxit sneaking away, cowardly, duplicitous, all the deals already made long before they actually snuck off to Canada, but actually California. All of that. The fact that it's in reverse here isn't trying to unwind Megxit, as has been the energy coming through for me recently, because the has been trying to unravel Megxit and try and undo the great mistake that he made in his life by following herself out the door and off and away to seek her fortune, really, and spend his fortune seeking her fortune. This is more sneaky behavior that's outrageously sneaky and duplicitous and unethical and dishonest and just plain wrong. Taking something that's not yours to take. Taking the princess, now Princess of Wales, she was just the Duchess of Cambridge then, taking her status away, her future away, her children's future away. Incredible, really, when you think about it. So who might have put this thought in the has-been's head? And we got the Six of Swords, and it's the overseas energy, the Six of Swords. It's flying in there. There she comes in her hot air balloon with the has-been in the little basket, the basket case, in the hot air balloon. It's her. It's her flying in from overseas with this thought. I wonder what was overheard at Soho House along the way over the years by Marcus and whoever else was listening in. That's just wild speculation of what was heard. Anyway, that is for another day. Let us move on and ask if there has been actually put this proposal to the late Queen, as Angela Levin has suggested he did. Did this actually? Oh, wow, yes. Tower. All fall down. Crash, bang, shock. Can you imagine? The poor old Queen, who, unbeknownst to us at that point, was already going through it. And so was Prince Philip. And there comes a tower moment. A rude surprise, a shock, a horrible shock. Absolutely. Having her tea and her jam sandwich or whatever it was she liked to have in the afternoons, every afternoon, same jam sandwich. I think it was a jam sandwich. I'm not quite sure. But I think it was something like that. So I'm not being facetious. I'm being sincere now. As I say, she was enjoying her cup of tea and her jam sandwich. And along comes the has-been and says, Meghan should take over from Catherine, because Meghan is a self-made woman and has $5 million and was a star of Suits. And it suits her to take over from everybody because she's so much better. I suppose it's when they came back from Australia and the poor old Queen nearly had a nervous collapse, because the tower actually can be a nervous collapse. It can be a breakdown. But it's the breakdown of reason. It's the breakdown of order. As you can see, the beam, the lightning bolt strikes, and the royal couple fall from the tower, as in traditional Rider-Waite it's depicted. This is not so obvious in this nasty little tarot, the Deviant Moon tarot, but you get the picture kinda anyway. How did the poor then Duchess of Cambridge, as I say, just gone through 3 incredibly harrowing pregnancies, how did she feel when she heard the news, as I'm sure she did? The moon. And it's the moon in reverse. The moon is fear and suspicion and deception and shadiness sitting under the Seven of Swords. You've got a super level of shadiness in this reading. Just saying, it's also children and pregnancies and things like that. And if she had been going through, now I've got a scenario, and I do get these scenarios, so bear with me while I paint this picture for you. She's gone through, I keep saying, those difficult pregnancies, very much on my mind in this reading. That's where she was. Awash with hormones, exhausted, stressed. In comes this American. So no offense to all Americans watching this, but in comes this creature. Let's call her that rather. Let's just call her a creature. In comes the creature with her hot air balloon, and there has been clinging on for all he's worth to this. And she doesn't know whether she's reading the situation right or not, because she thinks, nah, it's just my hormones. I'm just tired. I haven't slept for the past 5 years and I don't really know what's going on. So I'm not going to, because I'm really a kind, decent person and I don't want to think the worst of someone. So I'm just going to park the thought. And then she hears this. And so the moon is in reverse because now she knows. It wasn't the hormones. It wasn't the sleep deprivation. It wasn't any of the things. She was right to be suspicious. The moon is the card of suspicion. What is crawling around in someone's subconscious? What is going on beneath the veneer, the smile, the veneers even? Beneath those very white, those dazzlingly white veneers, what kind of creature lies beneath? Now she knows. How did the Queen respond or think? What did the Queen? Well, we know she's got the Tower. We've got the Justice card in reverse. We've got the Moon card in reverse. We've got the Seven of Swords. The Queen. The Hanged Man in reverse. Up until then, a bit like Catherine's energy, up until then, she was in suspended disbelief, shall we say. She was watching, she was waiting, she was thinking, she was analysing. That moment told her it was time to cut them loose. Right there. For those of you that believe that Meghan Markle was met at the National Theatre, I think it was the National Theatre, that day when she famously wasn't wearing her wedding ring. And I believe that she was escorted out of the country by Sophie and Edward. That energy in that card supports that theory. And it is, of course, just a theory and just a rumour that the Queen thought in that moment, no. Nope, we now have to act, we now have to do something, we now have to send them away, we now have to banish them overseas. The Hanged Man in reverse is sitting under the overseas card. Bye-bye. How did Meghan react when has been trotted back and said, not going to fly, darling. They're not going to have you as their queen. Death card. It's death in reverse. And in Rider-Waite Tarot, for those of you who are familiar with the Rider-Waite Tarot, the death energy tramples the king and queen and their tiny children underfoot the pale horse. Not going to give up, not going to let go. Death is about letting go. It's about ending something. It's saying, all right, done with that. Didn't work out. Fine. On I go. Not for her. Not going to let go of this idea. Not if she has to blow the whole thing up. Tower. We've already got that energy. She's going to hang on grimly to this notion forever and ever and ever. And I'm reminded of a reading I did fairly recently about Meghan's political ambitions and her desire one day to be Queen, Kween, and how she had been told by some sort of fortune teller or whatever that was in her future, it was in her stars. And she's clinging on to this idea for all she is worth. There it is. Death card in reverse. She is going to cling onto this notion all of her life. Those hands, those claws, you're going to have to break them. One day when she is cold in her grave, you're going to have to break those claws to wrestle this idea of queendom from her. That is my opinion. Sorry it got so dark and so savage and so twisted, but we are reading with the Deviant Moon Tarot, and it is that kind of a day somehow. Thank you for watching, and of course the allegedly sign is flashing all over this one.